Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Banished with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to Blubber Island. In the last episode, when we left off, we were just starting to make Blubber Island a little bit more presentable, using the decorations especially designed for water-bound areas. In addition to this, we had just started a new residential area over here in hopes to revive our aging population once again. And we had almost finished off the poor section here, attached to the original village section. So in today's episode, I plan to continue doing those three things, finishing off the decorations around Blubber Island, finishing the new residential area, and making this area its final form. And I've decided I do like the almost crowded look of this, as long as we can figure out a lot of buildings with similar styles. But first, while everything is being built as well, we're going to wait a while for all of these to actually finish their creation. We're going to try and finish off doing the island around here, adding the lovely walkways around the edge, which shouldn't take too long at all. So I'll probably do that just off camera. I'll probably edit that out, as it is one of the most boring processes there is, and I will be right back. Well, there we have it. We have one side of the island completely walled off from the main port here all the way along to the schoolhouse, but it has edged off a little bit early because this area here is just too rugged to actually follow with the tool. And if you try and go just in a perfectly straight line, these lines here become very obvious that they are meant to attach to something, but ultimately I'm quite happy with that. It makes it seem more man-made, it seems to add a bit more purpose to the island. So now, to finish off the island, let's start adding some greenery, because honestly, at the moment, this place looks a little bit dead. It wouldn't be too bad if we could perhaps add some plant life. So let's add a little gardeny area next to the school to start off with. Actually no, because that will get in the way of the planks. I think perhaps here, this huge empty area, because ghost decorations and just regular decorations are a lot more lenient when it comes to the flooring, we could actually build something here, as we simply couldn't build housing there before because of those issues. So let's first of all go into the... oh, hello flower beds, that's kind of cool. But no, let's go to the floral hedges if possible, and let's quickly make this a nice square. So, corner hedge here, there we are, nope, yes, there we go, that type of corner hedge, and we'll put it around about here. Not quite there, because it'll end up obscuring the view of everything else, but just a bit along. And then we'll just continue this all the way down, and eventually all the way around. Like so. All nice, all simple, okay, and then once again a little bit earlier than I would have expected, just to make sure that we don't end up barricading these schoolhouses. Well, the schoolhouse and the parish house. Or is that a chapel? No, it is actually just a parish house, okay. There we are, except for that last one was a little bit too far, so we'll delete that. Oh wait, yeah, it has to be built first, so we'll delete that afterwards, that's no real problem. Where's the gate we had before? Floral hedges, and is it in here perhaps? Oh, there we are. Okay, we'll have that there, and then we'll have two of these. Well, one of those there, and eventually the corner will go there on top of that. Okay, so that's a nice little square which will end up putting all sorts of plant life and everything in, and then what we can do is start putting down some trees around the place. A few tree stumps here and there, particularly near the docking area, might be nice. Shows perhaps that it's being cut down and used for firewood or whatever repair work these ships need. That looks nice. And have that just a little bit further than each house. Doesn't have to be in a perfect, like, symmetrical fashion. Just a little line of trees there, just to add a little bit of life to this area. Actually, we could do the same here as well. Have two lines of them. Again, I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical, so just going off a little bit there, and that should make it look natural-ish. Okay, so I'll let the builders get to work. There's 138 different things apparently requiring building at the moment, so I'll just leave the simulation running for a moment and then we can continue our progress. Well, it seems that the plague god once again returns to Latsburg. An outbreak of Typhus has occurred, and sadly, it has infected a 6-year-old child who, all by himself, is now heading along to the doctors. Now, this was actually something I was going to address in the last episode, but completely forgot. I really need to move my hospitals. Having them all in one place is never a good idea. Honestly, having them in multiple places on the outskirts of every residential area is the best idea, as it lessens the amount of places the poor infected needs to go past. Of course, it's too late now, and it means our very sick person all the way over here is going to need to walk all the way over here through like 3 different residential areas and multiple industrial areas. Basically, he's going to infect so many people or simply die on the way. This isn't going to go well, and considering our population at the moment is in a very slow decline, it's not really something I wanted to see. As you can see, lots of infected. If we had a hospital, let's say, in the corner here, or even in the poor region, or even in the burning region here, he would have already got there, and multiple people would not have been infected. So, yeah. I'm not going to just sit here watching the plague happen again like I did last time, but this may take a while and is definitely going to slow down our progress once again. This has probably been the most lethal of any disease that has visited Latsburg thus far. Of course, that does make sense considering, well, it is Typhus, but yeah, it's not been the best for our people. It capped out, it kind of peaked at around about 35 infected, but it does seem to now be slowing down. Although some people are wandering around like absolute ninnies infecting more people, it does seem to be slightly under control now, with more people being cured than being killed. We have already lost 15 people, though, to the disease, and it is continuing to rise as people continue to walk randomly. Again, as much as it is my fault for having the hospitals in such a bad place, why are some people walking such weird routes? Like, why are you doing this? You could go towards the hospital a much faster way. It really does show that we need to control the population better in terms of putting things like hospitals much closer to each group, so that that doesn't happen. Relying on the AI to be efficient in this is a little bit silly. So remember when I said we have the disease under control and it peaks out at 35? Well, it turns out I was very, very incorrect. It actually just managed to hit 50 infected, and upon multiple people dying, it seems like once again, most of the infected are actually under quarantine, but every now and again an infected person simply walks out of the hospital or goes the other way for no reason. You're looking for some place warm? The hospital is technically warm. Go to the hospital, don't go home. And then they infect an entire population once again. Of course, it's still better to have the hospital nearby, because it means when they do something silly like this, they only have to travel a short distance. Only the people living here are actually really getting quick and easy medical care. Everyone else has to travel quite a distance, even people at the very outskirts of the blacksmithing village here. This is going to take a while, and the death toll now is at 32. We are down to 373 adults, and that is very rapidly declining from both old age and, of course, the illness itself. Well done, Typhus. You are winning, honestly. Finally, the illness has passed, with over 40 people being killed by the disease before it finally left us. So I think before we do anything else, it makes complete sense to actually put down hospitals in better positions. So the first one will go next to the Gatherer down here, thus servicing this area here. The second hospital is actually going to go next to the Stack Burner over here, and we will be making a very small bridge either from here down here or here to over here. If that's not possible, we can always raise the land a little bit. Or we could actually have the hospital here instead, once again if we raise the land. Or even here. Actually, no, here's a better idea, as that will service everywhere over there. The next hospital, all the way over here in the new residential area, and the final hospital will be placed here next to the smelters. This way we have one on the outskirts of pretty much every major residential area on the map, other than the original fishing island here, which honestly doesn't really house that many people, as it's just kind of a crossing point. We've taken away a lot of people from their farming duties and put them into labourers just to speed up the building of everything else. Now, the mining community got really damaged by that, and we had to get some more miners put in as well. A lot of stuff just went down, to be perfectly honest, and hopefully now we can start to recover, and with the new hospitals, as soon as they're built, we will remove all of the old ones other than this single hospital. Actually, I may destroy this hospital as well, hoping that this one can cater to them. Just because right now, everyone has to go through this residential area, and every time there's an outbreak, people living here just get infected by default. So perhaps keeping this one here and maybe making one, honestly, in here would make more sense. So I don't really know, we'll have to see. But let's allow our population to slowly recover, and we'll be right back once some of the building work has been done. Well, whilst I'm waiting for our population to very slowly heal itself, as you can see, we now have 90 children and 91 students, so that is by far underway. I've decided to go ahead and flatten this area to see how many more wharf and ships we can add. This is number 4, and this will make number 5. And can we just about squeeze a 6th in? Fantastic! Making this the largest miniature dock area we now have. As soon as it's built, of course. We should, if we're lucky, already have quite a few hull components made. They currently can't make it because I've slowed down some of the production of the other elements, but let's have a look how many we've made before that. So we have enough building supplies, that's fantastic, although we do need a couple more, so we'll make sure that's starting as well. Let's just go down, and hull components we have 23, so straight away we can build 2, and now let's just turn that back on, get someone working there, and I'll start the production of rope once again, in addition to, I think, yeah, we do actually need some lumber as well, so there we go. In a second we'll start making all that, and all of those can be created. I've decided for a while at least to turn off most of the farms due to our dwindling labourer population, our dwindling adult population, and instead I'm focusing on the actual sailors themselves. All of the wharf and ships we currently have are completely manned, meaning they're getting the maximum amount of resource, which honestly is still pretty darn good. It's definitely not good enough to keep our food reserves up by itself, but it's pretty good. In addition to that, let's go ahead and make sure that the other roles are also kept at maximum, like our dredgers. We currently only have 10 of 14, so let's make one more of that and leave 2 labourers in the background just to make sure that if a teacher dies or something like that, they can instantly be replaced. We're slowly making a bit of progress today, although a lot of it has just been playing catch-up. In addition, look, it's all built here. Excellent. We have our rural market, and we have most of our country houses. Our little hospital has been moved slightly, and that's probably the next thing that will be built, as I have raised the priority of it quite highly. So yeah, we're getting there slowly, and after that we can finish off the poor region down here, since honestly, there's not much more to do. The population of Lathsburg has finally been replenished, but not only that, it has actually exceeded its old population, and now we have excess labourers to do with as we wish. So currently, we have all of these wharf and ships unmanned, so that's the first thing we're going to start putting people in. As you can probably tell, I just took a little break to just let the game play itself out for about half an hour, came back, and everything seems to be going just perfectly. And we've added some flowers in here, aren't they sweet? So we have all these lovely little flowers and all these little gardens coming along nicely. All the trees have came out. It turns out they're actually a little bit less asymmetrical than I wanted them to be. Only this little section here actually goes against the pattern, and all the rest is completely perfect. So I'll be uprooting them and just making them all straight and symmetrical later. We have our storage sorted out, and we have our massive residential area currently being a massive boon to our population size. So, what do we do next? We need to make sure our people are fed, and this little fishery over here can't be relied upon that much. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to start converting some extra land into food land. The first thing we're going to do is turn this area here into the pasture I keep on saying I'm going to turn it into, so let's just put that straight there, and that will be a cow pasture so that we can increase the amount of dairy products we are producing. That's a hospital, isn't it? Yes, okay. So put that like that, okay. So where else can we actually start food production? Oh yeah, there was a small fire here. Let's ignore that. Well, along here, for instance, is completely disused, so probably some more of the lovely tidal pools. The tidal pools are a weird one. They're not actually that effective. In terms of how many fish they get for a single person, it's not that great. If you look at a fishing dock, for instance, this one has 3 people, and it's producing 844, whereas this one's producing somewhere in the region of 200-ish, I can't be bothered to do the mental math, per person, so it's... Actually, yeah, it's just a little bit less than a fishing dock. I do tend to find they're not the best, but of course they are also producing pearls, which are worth a small fortune. This one actually did a lot better. It does seem to be a bit more luck-based as well, but the big thing with these is, though, you can put them next to each other and they don't have a diminishing return, unlike a fishing dock, which has this little sphere of influence. If you put too many things in the sphere of influence, they each get less and less and less, until the point they're pretty much worthless. So what we're going to do is make a nice line of tidal pools here, and these will probably be manned by the people who live in the island there, thus continuing its proud heritage of being fishermen. I've also just noticed that the music has stopped. That's really weird. It's like an eerie silence. All I can hear is myself talk. Ugh, that's horrible. I don't know how you people put up with that. So next, let's have these crops here. That's a bit of a jump there. Okay, crops are here. Actually, no, I just saw it and instantly thought, why don't I make these crops? So, yeah, more crops seems good. In fact, we're going to make a huge, dense orchard in a similar vein to the cherry orchard we had at the start of the village. That should be fantastic for some long-term resources. There we go, and I have another crop field here. Not really bothering with... Okay, let's bother with efficiency. 11 by 11, according to various sites, is the most efficient, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Well, we can't quite put 11 by 11, so 10 by 11 instead. That seems reasonable. And then we have this area here. Now, do we make this an orchard? Yes, we will. We'll make that an orchard. Because the big thing is, adding some more jobs here is a really good thing, because we have a massive residential area over here, which actually is going to struggle to have jobs nearby. We do have all the wharf and ships, but other than that, there's not really much going on here, and that's being contested by all the people living here. I mean, look, we have foresters living here, which go all the way down here. So actually, the next time we start wanting some more population, we'll have to build a bit more around here. Perhaps we'll knock down this area here from its resources and start building houses there. But we won't do that just yet because our population is ridiculous at the moment, so I'd like to stabilise a bit first. Anywhere else we want to build? Honestly, no, there's not much else. Well, there's not many places I really want to say this area should be a food production area. We could put down a farm here, but ultimately that seems a bit wasteful. It's only a small space, and we're probably going to turn this into more of the crafting area eventually, so I'd rather have that space spare. We do still have 15 labourers, however, so is there any job currently needing, well, use? Yes. We could have some more miners. Oh yeah, actually a lot of the miners were killed by the plagues. So we'll do that, and we'll be right back once some of those food production areas are started. Before we call this episode, though, we really do need to do at least one of the things we set out to do in the first place, even with all of these distractions, and that's finish off the poor region over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 more of these candleries, because, well, honestly, we still are in desperate need of candles. We have so much spare tallow, it's ridiculous, and we keep on needing candles for building and simply not having them available, because we're also using them for fuel. So we're going to build 2 candleries, one there, and then, what I would really like, if I can find it, is perhaps a sawmill. No, sorry, perhaps a bundling shed itself down here, as it's quite a rural-looking building. It's quite a not exactly wealthy-looking buildings, all shack-like, but will suit this area pretty darn well. Perhaps we could put it here, but then I couldn't put a road back there, so maybe not. How about there? That seems good. Okay, we'll have that there. So we have 2 more candleries. We have the bundling shed, which uses things like reeds or candles to actually make fuel. And then what else? I mean, we could have a saw pit. Saw pits look cool. I mean, there's not much use for them here, though, and honestly, they'd be really inefficient. So probably not that. So we need something else. What else can we put here that looks like it's actually suited for it? Honestly, the tannery really looks suited. Uses salt to cure leather. Okay, that's another thing. We do need salt in the future, so perhaps next time we will be sorting that out as well. How about our weavers? I just want this place to look packed, to look like it's busy all the time, and it's kind of sprung up out of necessity rather than clever planning. Like most of my thing, actually. Like most of my village, so a stockpile would actually be quite good, as that would help out a load of things. Actually, if we put a stockpile here, and we had a road, we might get some wood actually being stocked here, so that would be really good. Have a stockpile there, and let's see, can we make a bridge? Just a small wooden bridge there, excellent. That way, we will get some wood overflow over here, which means we could add that chopping pit I was just looking at, and that would probably be the last thing we add. Where is it, the chopping pit? The bundling shed, the sawmill, the chopper. The saw pit is what I was actually after, and I've went ahead and added 2 of them. It turns out, however, that it actually produces lumber rather than firewood, which is a really interesting turn of events, because I'm going to use this as a bit of an advantage, due to, at the moment, the sawmill over here, when turned on, basically overproduces lumber really, really quickly, because the building itself is faster at making lumber than this little tiny saw pit, and it's right next to the wood supply, so it's essentially using up all of our wood for an item we don't really need much of. This, however, all the way over here, and as a much less efficient building, is going to use up the lumber much slower, well, use the logs much slower to produce lumber. So I will allow 1 person to work here, and with that, I think this area of the village is finally finished. I can't think of anything else I would like to add that doesn't require a complex production line, which I'm just not happy with adding in this area. So we have the candleries, we have the bundling sheds, we have storage, fishing, and a very small population in the form of the side houses. So I am really, really pleased with that. In addition to all that, we've sorted out our orchards over here, which are now growing, and everything's looking pretty good. So I think it's a good time to finally call the episode. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Banished is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Although I must say, it is getting very close to the end of the season now. We only have 1 major area to actually use to our advantage, and we're pretty much done. So once again, before my voice completely breaks, thank you and goodbye.